everyone, welcome back to J-GraceCoder. Today we are building something super fun and practical, a real-time digital clock using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. In this video, you will not only learn how to create a clock that updates every second, but we will also make it interactive with a sleek dark mode toggle. If you are a beginner, this is the perfect project to strengthen your JavaScript fundamentals while building something you can actually use. For more advanced developers, this is a chance to refine your skills by adding interactive features like a theme toggle with smooth transitions. By the end of this video, you will have a project you can show off or even customize further to make it your own. So grab your popcorn, relax, and let's jump in. I am going to create a folder on my desktop which I'm going to call Digital Clock. If you're on Windows, right-click on this folder and you will see an option to open it with your code editor. If you're on Mac, you can simply drag and drop this folder into your code editor. So here is our project folder. Next, let's create a file, and this is going to be our entry point. So we call it index.html. And with the help of Emmet, we can simply use a shortcut to generate HTML boilerplate. Simply press exclamation mark and hit enter. This generates the HTML boilerplate. Great. Now let's change this title to Digital Clock. In the body, let's add a div and let's give this div a class of container. Inside this div, let's add h1 and here let's simply write 000000. Okay, and after this, let's add a button and let's say toggle theme. For the h1, let's give this h1 an ID of clock and let's give this button an ID of theme toggle. Next, let's open our project in a web browser. Here is our project in a web browser. Great. Now let's add some styles. So let's create a file here and let's call this style.css. In this index.html, let's now link our style sheet using the link tags. And here we put .style.css. Great. Now let's add our style. So we grab the body. Let's set the font family to Arial and let's use the sans serif. Let's give it a color. Let's add background color. Let's set the height to 100 viewport height. Let's remove the margin. Great. Now let's display flex. We justify content to the center and we also align items to the center. Let's add some transition and let this be on the background color. Okay, 0.3 second delay. And also for the color, now let's tie the container. So dot container, let's test align to the center. Next, let's tie this so we can select it using the ID. In this case, we use hash. Okay, clock. Let's set the margin bottom to 18 pixels. Okay, let's increase the font size to 5 frame. Now let's tie the button. We change the padding 10 pixels top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right. Let's change the font size to 1 rem. Let's set the pointer. Let's remove the border. So border should be set to none. Great. Let's set border radius. Let's change the background color to 333. Now we change the color to white. Also, let's add some transition. So for the background color, let's set this to, and also for the color, we add a delay of 0.3 seconds. Okay, let's change the cursor to pointer. And now let's add some pseudo class on this button. So let's use the over pseudo class, and we change the background color to 555. Next, let's actually make this clock to start working without wasting any time. To do that, we simply use JavaScript. So let's create a file and let's call this script.js. Next, let's link this script file with our HTML file. So we can simply add it here in the body, or we add it in the head using the script tag. And here, let's add the source attribute, and that is going to be script.js. And since we are putting this in the head, we also need to defer this JavaScript file. Okay, great. Basically, we need access to this clock, okay, and also we need access to this toggle button. So first, let's undo the clock. We say const clock is equal to document.getElementById, and here we specify clock. Next, let's write a function that is going to update our clock. So we simply use function. So we need access to the current time. So let's call that now, and that should be equal to new date. Okay, so this will basically give us access to the current time. We need the hours, okay, so is equal to now.getHours, okay, so this basically gives us the current hour. Now let's actually check this. So console.log, and now let's right click on this and open this inspect. You can also use a shortcut. For instance, on Mac, you can use Command Option J. That will directly take you to the console. And to see this in the console, we have to call this function. So update clock, let's call the function. And immediately we call this function, we actually see the result, which is actually the correct hour when I am recording this video. Okay, but what if the time is, for instance, let's say 7 a.m. I'm going to get 7 here. I want to make it 2 digits so that instead of getting 6 or 7, I'm going to get 06, 07. Considering what we have here, 0000. So I want to make it 2 digits. I don't want to get 7. I don't want to get 6. Instead, 0607. And to do that, I need to add leading zeros to a number until it reaches the desired length. Okay, and to achieve that, I'm going to use the pad start method. To achieve that, I'm going to use the pad start method. And the pad start method is a string method. So since it's a string method, I need to first convert this time to string. So I have to first convert this to string. Now I can call the pad start method on this string. For the maximum length, I want to, and I want to add 0. Okay, so if it is 6, it's going to add 0 before 6. And if it is, let's say, 12, is going to give me 12. Okay, great. Now let's get the minutes is equal to, so I will do the same thing, string, and I will also pad start this 2, comma, of course, I'm adding 0. Now let's do the same thing for second. Okay, now let's change the text content here. Instead of 0000, we want to see the correct time. So we use clock, okay, which is this here. Remember, this gives us access to this H1 here. We gave it an ID of clock. So we want to change this content here. Great. Clock.text content, very simple. We simply set it to, so let's use backticks, okay? And in here, let's now add our hour, colon. Let's add our minutes. So these hours. And now let's add our seconds and save this. Okay, so now we have the correct time, but the issue is, how do we actually refresh this time? For us to see the new time, we have to save this page again. Okay, we have to press Command S, then we see a change here. In order to get the correct time, we can use the JavaScript inbuilt set interval method. And with the set interval method, we are going to call this function again. So let's simply do that. We use the set interval, and the set interval, remember, it takes a callback function. In this case, we are going to pass our update clock function, and we are going to specify the interval. Okay, so we save this now, and now we have this beautiful. Next, let's undo the theme. So we want to be able to click this button and actually change the theme. To do that, it's very simple. We are going to add some class here. So let's say body.dark mode. We simply want to change the background color to black. Okay, and let's change the color to white. And next, let's add body.dark mode. So we grab the button, and for this, let's change the background color back to F0, 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 and we change the color to the default color, which is 333. Okay, now the point is, how do we make this work? And to make this work, we need to use JavaScript. So we go back to our script file, and for this, we need access to this button. So let's grab this, and here, let's create another variable, and let's call this button dot get element by ID. Let's use the same thing, and let's put this ID. Okay, so first we have to add an event listener on this button, and to do that, we simply say button dot add event listener. Okay, and we want to add a click event, and here we pass a callback function. So in here, we need access to the body, so we use the document.body. Okay, document.body is the body of our HTML. Okay, this particular body here. Great. On the body, we need access to the class list, and for the class list, we want to toggle our dark mode class. Okay, dark mode, and let's save this. Remember, this dark mode class is the class we added here. Okay, this class here. Now let's try this and see if it works. Okay, perfect. And this is actually amazing. And you see how simple it is to actually build this simple digital clock using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Thank you for being part of this simple project. See you in the next one.